First of all, in the short run, the most important thing we can do is to lift the bottom, the working bottom, by raising the minimum wage. We had a big argument about this yesterday. You may have seen. There's a lot of people who argue that every time you raise the minimum wage, you cut off opportunities for young people and jobs and everything. I've been doing this a long time. It's never happened any time I was involved in it. And you could raise the minimum wage so much. For example, it's going to be interesting to see how the Seattle experiment works. You know,
we were talking about that with Secretary Rubin just a few minutes ago.
It's going to be very interesting to see. But the research indicates that if you kind of keep the minimum wage at roughly half the median, you can get the best of both worlds. And you can give people enough money to live on, and that adds to economic growth because people, they don't have enough money to save, so they circulate it in the economy, it turns over, and it contributes to growth. So I think that is important. I think making some adjustments in the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Care Tax Credit to help working people with families at the lower end of the wage scale is important. The Earned Income Tax Credit, when I was president, alone lifted more than 3 million people out of poverty and more than 2 million children, and enabled us to have the only period since the late 70s when the bottom 20% of earners actually increased their earnings by more than the top 20% did, as much as the top 5%. That's pretty impressive. We can do that. And I think it's important. The third thing that will help a lot is, it's going to take us 2 or 3 years, looks like, but we got to get all the states to take this Medicaid expansion. It's a laydown. It creates thousands of jobs in every state, brings money in, and rewards working people. The people who have opposed Medicaid expansion, Virginia just had a study that said their budget would actually generate $1 billion plus more revenues over the next 10 years if they take it and pay the 10% match after 3 years than if they save the match and don't expand, because of all the jobs that will be created and all the savings and increased health care. You've got to give working families a chance to take care of their kids. So if you lift the bottom, that's important. Now, over the long run, social mobility may be even more important. That is, we have proved in America that we would accept a slightly, even under the best of conditions, slightly higher rate of economic inequality than many of the most wealthy countries in Europe in return for more social mobility. That is, we would take in more immigrants and give them a chance to start out low on the totem pole and work like crazy and build middle-class lives. But that's not a credible position for us to have anymore, because we have less social mobility in America than a lot of other countries now. Canada seems to have even a higher median income than we do. That is, at the 50th percentile. It appears that this year, for the first time since World War II, Canada's income is higher than ours. And there are several countries with higher incomes in the lower 40% of the workplace. So I just think...
So should we borrow some of their policies?
Yes.